From one poignant story to the next in his native homeland, today's filmmaker has spent years crafting intimate and emotionally resonant character studies. We are in season 3 of Oscar Rewind, and today I am looking at Strand Releasing's Oslo, August 31st. Based on Pierre Driot La Rochelle's Will-o'-the-Wisp, the film was co-written by Eskil Voigt and the film's director Joachim Trier. Premiering at Cannes in May of 2011, the film would go on to release later that year. What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here, and it is a new episode of Oscar Rewind where I look back at the films of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of these throwbacks. We are halfway through Chapter 3, Early Visions. This chapter focusing on the earlier work from the Oscar-nominated directors and those who directed Oscar-nominated films. And today we are looking at Joachim Trier, who has brought some really fascinating films to the screen, including this year's history-making Sentimental Value. With 9 Oscar nominations, it was the most nominated Norwegian feature film ever. Now, if you've never seen Oslo, August 31st, here's your quick, spoiler-free setup. Anders, played by Anders Danielsen Lie, is a recovering addict and former drug dealer, 10 months clean. He has had some bumps, and when we first meet him at the start, he is attempting to commit suicide by drowning himself in the lake. Unsuccessful, he proceeds to return to his rehab center and keep this information to himself. And then the next day, he receives a day pass to leave the rehab center. The hope is that a job interview might help him begin rebuilding his life. Upon arriving back in Oslo, he first goes to visit his longtime friend Thomas, played by Hans Olav Brenner. The two take some time to catch up, talk, and Anders, believing, things are better for everyone else outside than he is inside, is quickly dissuaded when Thomas lets him know that behind the smiles of happy wife and child, things are not what they seem. Life can be hard, but it is good that Anders is trying to improve himself. Thomas is happy. But Anders admits that he has had depressive, suicidal thoughts and fearful of restarting his life in his early 30s. However, he insists that he will be fine and leaves Thomas behind, though Thomas clearly isn't convinced. He then, after not doing so well at the interview, goes to meet up with his sister Nina as they are to pack things up because their parents have decided to sell their house because they needed the money to pay for Anders' rehab. Refusing to come, Nina sends her girlfriend Tova, played by Tone Beate Mostrom, which only infuriates Anders a little bit more. He's trying to make things better. After leaving with the house keys, Anders heads to a dinner party with some friends where he's going to go down a rabbit hole that will send his day in possibly destructive directions. As with Sentimental Value and Trier's other Oscar-nominated flick, The Worst Person in the World, Trier is really focused on character studies. In Oslo, August 31st, we don't get so much a fully driven narrative, but more like an entry from the Linklater Before trilogy. We follow a person on a day and see what will or won't pan out. In Oslo, Trier has an interesting performer in Lie, who's become a regular collaborator with Trier, also appearing in Worst Person in the World and Sentimental Value. And this is also Trier's device. He works with this ensemble. You'll even find recent Oscar nominee Renate Reinsve in a small but almost blink and you miss her performance. But Lie, really, this is his film. He carries the whole thing, and his quiet, reserved performance makes Anders compelling to watch, even when there's very little happening on screen. There's a very indie documentary feel to this film, expertly executed by cinema Jakob Ihre, who moves with purpose as we capture the moments. And there's some interesting editing by Olivier Bouget-Coutet that it feels a little bit jerky at times, but when you see how it kind of serves Anders' narrative to show those fractured moments, it works. And I also feel I need to mention, for those who saw Sentimental Value, you will have a delightful Easter egg thanks to production designer Jorgen Stanby Larsen, who did both films and a certain domicile that you will encounter. Now, let's talk about the box office and the awards. After Oslo August 31st run, it made $101,475 domestically, and $1,380,190 internationally, for a worldwide take of $1,481,665. Critically, the film sits with a 97% tomato meter from 73 reviews and an 82% popcorn meter from over 5,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise, the film had 40 nods and wins. A few highlights: it was an Un Certain Regard nominee when it premiered at Cannes. It was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the César Awards, France's version of the Oscars. And in its home country, at the Amanda Awards, Norway's version of the Oscars, it was nominated for Best Actor for Lie, Cinematography, Sound Design, and Production Design. And then there were 2 wins. It won for Editing and a Directing win for Trier. A simple character study that may not appeal to everyone. I will admit, Oslo, August 31st, it is a solid 4-star film and part of Trier's Oslo Trilogy. This is the second part. Worst Person in the World is the third. Kind of like Edgar Wright's Cornetto Trilogy. 3 films, similar actors playing different parts, different stories, but all connected with one venue. Interesting watches. Look for this one. Oslo, August 31st is streaming on Mubi. And that's it for episode 24 of season 3 of Oscar Rewind. If you enjoyed this episode and want to check out the others, make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments. Have you ever watched a film where seemingly nothing happens, yet you couldn't stop thinking about it afterward? This one will be one of those. Please follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for more exclusive cinematic content. I will see you for the next rewind, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike reminding you to take a break and watch something new.